Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping. And believe it or not, it's the new year. Happy New Year. It is 2026. And this is our first Wednesday paper pumpkin workshop for the year. We're going to be doing the December 2025 kit called Watercolor in Bloom. As you're joining me today, please sign in using the comments and let me know your name and where you're watching from. And if you're on YouTube, you can do the same by being logged into your YouTube account or Google account. Those are the same. And then you can use the comments to put your name in and any questions you have or feedback on the projects that I'm going to do today. We're going to do this in 3 parts. The first part is going to be doing the paper pumpkin projects that are included in the kit as they are designed. Then we're going to look at some announcements, things going on with Plum Crazy Stamping and Stampin' Up. And then we're going to do alternate projects in a workshop format where I'm actually going to put together some different cards using the paper pumpkin supplies to show you how you can get more out of your kit. We're actually going to make 2 cards out of each card as it's designed for the project. So it gets us a little more for our money. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put the camera down so that you can see the paper pumpkin project, and we're going to get started. All right, let's make this look just a little different. There we go. We've got our paper pumpkin box as it comes in our mailbox. And I have renewed my subscription, so I get this every month as a Christmas gift from my husband. So it's something that just keeps on giving all year long, and I absolutely love it. Like I said, we're doing the Watercolor in Bloom. That's kind of fuzzy, isn't it? Let's look at, there's a full color instruction sheet that comes with each kit. And in this instruction sheet, not only do you get a picture of the completed project. So this kit contains 3 cards and then 3 cards of each type, so a total of 9 cards. On the back here, you'll see all the supplies that are included in here, and I'll show you some of them, which are a little easier to see in person. There is a set, and this is the last month of the die set that was designed to go with the October, November, and December project. There is a little QR code here to get a demonstration of how to do this in case you would miss the time with me. And then on the inside, we have how to put together the parts and pieces for each of the projects before we get into the step-by-step projects by card. In this kit, I'll show you all of the card bases, the envelopes, die cuts, pieces of die cut vellum. We got the Night of Navy Stampin' Spot. We have a nice stamp set. Now the really special thing about this kit is this is about mixing and matching our sentiments to make them very specific for someone we want to be stamping our card for. So these sentiments can be put together in different ways and kind of change the message up a little bit, which is going to be fun. We also got some beautiful sequins. The die cuts with this set have some copper foil on them, and the sequins are also like a copper foil. Then I've got all my stamps already mounted here. I got some large dimensionals in the kit, which are great. And I'm going to be using my large stamp pad because I keep all these smaller ones for when I go to stamp camp. Kind of makes all the stuff I have to take just a little bit easier to manage. All right, well, let's get started. Let's go ahead and jump in on our first project here and get these parts and pieces out here. Isn't this a pretty envelope? So there are 9 envelopes and they're all the same in this kit. And let's go ahead and take our card base, which is scored already. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to actually crease that nicely. Then we're going to do a little stamping. Now these are all photopolymer stamps, but they're not really large images, so I don't think I'll need my pierce mat today, but I am going to get the dies that I'm going to be stamping on. So let's see, I just want to make sure that I am going to have this going in the right direction. I believe that we are going to make it go, yep, this way. So we're going to stamp on that. We are also going to stamp on this die cut. Isn't that gorgeous with the foil? I'll set the card front out of the way right here. And I believe that's all the stamping we're going to do on this one. And we're going to actually put together 2 sentiments in this little square that say, "Miss you so much." So I've got these already mounted on my square. Let's see here, just in case I need a little something to stamp things off. I usually condition stamps, and that means that you stamp them and then you check if it's getting all of the ink well. Yes, it is. So then we can do it right on our project. So I'm going to, let's see, put this down just a little bit on this square. And then I'm going to get the "so much" here. Make sure that's working good. Yes, it is. And then put that right underneath the "miss you." Okay. Keep those off to the side. Oh, I do need this to put some of the leaves on the top of our, let's see which leaves we have here. Right on the top of this beautiful die cut. So here we go. And I have to watch the edges of my acrylic blocks here. All right, so we'll do the first one straight up and down here. And then we'll do the second. Let's see, we've got little leaves here. So we're going to go first one direction with this. Oops. That wasn't very good ink coverage there. All right, so we're going to go this way. Hi, Kim. Welcome. It's been a while, taking some time off for the holidays. Hope all went well for you. Okay, there we've got our different leaves. Okay, and now we're going to put our card together. So what I like in the instructions, it lets you know how to go ahead and assemble. And this also, for adhesive, had tear and tape in here, and it shows you how to put those across the different elements. So we've also got a piece of vellum to back this card. So we're going to go ahead and put our tear and tape on the vellum. So that's one of the things, just like the mini glue dots that come in here, that does not show through the vellum, which is nice. Okay. And we're going to do the same on the back of our die cut that we stamped on. And what I like about this is you don't have to cut it. It truly is tear and tape. All right, let's see. We're going to put a little bit of this on the bottom of our other die cut here. All right, let's see. We also need to use our dimensionals. So let's go ahead and grab those. And we're going to put one on the back of this little flower die cut. And we'll put them on the back of this one and our stamped sentiment. All right. And let's go ahead, grab our card back, and I'm going to use my take your pick tool and get the adhesive off of the different things where I have put it. That really helps a lot to get underneath the adhesive covering here and just pull that off. Yep, very easy. I love the colors in this kit. They're so very pretty. And let's go ahead and take the top off our dimensionals too. All right. So we'll assemble this in line. I just want to double check this picture. I think, whoops. The vellum, I want to see underneath. Yep, it's underneath the die cut. So I'm going to just center this on the front. And then I'm going to center the die cut where we can see it on each edge of that. And then we're going to put our sentiment down here, kind of towards the bottom a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to put this somewhat on top. And that's why it had the tear and tape, and then the dimensional here to make that all the same distance from the card front. And then I'm just going to center this little flower right there. And then let's get our sequins and put those in place. So we've got large and small ones. So let's see, we've got a large one here. It just really adds this little accent. I like that. And then one more small one here. All right, and there is our first card with this kit. Okay. And then our beautiful envelope that goes with that. All right, now we'll be ready to do the second one. Yeah, I agree. Somebody's writing here, Cherry Lane, that we can get more out of the vellum than just covering it up. That's why I double checked it, because I agree. You can see it on the edges, but you could really just cut a strip of that vellum, put it on the edge, and you'd still have a big strip of vellum to use differently. So I would agree that would be a good way to get something more out of this kit. All right, let's look at the second card here. And we'll go ahead and crease this with our bone folder. Okay, and we're going to do a little stamping for this one too. We have vellum that we're going to be putting on the card front. We have a nice die cut here. And then we have the die cut that we're going to actually put our sentiment on, as well as some little branches. And we've got a flower and another die cut. I'm going to just put these upside down so I can quickly get the adhesive on them after I stamp this one. This one we're going to do thank you. The little things you do for me mean so much. And let's go ahead and get that stamped up. Okay. I'm going to put this kind of close to the top here. It's kind of nice to be stamping something different from all the Christmas cards I've been stamping. Kind of get my groove on for doing things a little different here. All right, I like these sentiments though. And then let's get our little leaf here that we're going to add just to the bottom corner. I like how they always give us a little something to do, you know, a little additional embellishment on what we're working on. Okay. And let's see. That's all the stamping we're going to do with this one. So now we just have a whole lot of adhesive to put on here. So let's go ahead and do that. Once again, the tear and tape is going to work. Well, oh, here, let me move these all over. They get a little bit off to the side here. There we go. So I'll start with this. This one, I think it's smaller. I think 2 pieces of tear and tape is going to do it with this one. I do like they make suggestions about where you can put it, but you can also do your own thing. This one I'm going to put just a little piece in here on that flower. Now let's get our dimensionals again for this die cut. All right. And then we'll go ahead and now layer this on the front of the card. Oh, here. Taking all this off is so much easier if I just do it all at once. I got that kind of, I'm going to snip this off. I got it kind of piled up in a little bump. Now I got it on my scissors. But we'll see. If I need that, I'll have to get my alcohol pad out and fix that. So I'm curious if anyone has some crafting goals for 2026, either new things you want to try, things that, you know, you want to learn and really have never done before, Or if there's a project that's been on your list forever and you want to get at it. Some people have already shared with me that they want to do some heat embossing. So I'm actually going to be doing an online class about that in February. And I have had on my list to do something with my recipes and create something paper crafting, probably in a binder, to organize them. I think I'll organize them by section, and some of them I have like printed off from the computer. Some of them I have out of a magazine, and some I have, in people's handwriting on recipe cards. So I think I'm going to find a way to put those in page protectors and, do a little embellishing here and there, but get them in order so that I can just enjoy them as much as I want to. So I'm kind of excited about that. I don't know what month I'm going to do that yet. It's looking like maybe March. Let's get this right there. So how about you? I'm curious. Ooh, that is really pretty. Now this one I do like the vellum behind it. All right, that is card 2 with our beautiful envelope. Set it there so you can see that. And then we'll move this. Oh, I have to do the embellishments on this yet. Let's get those in place so I don't forget. Sometimes I'll do this whole workshop and then I'll be like, I didn't get out the sequins. Oh no. They really do add. There we go. That really does add a lot to that card front, I think. I like the shine. All right, we are ready for card 3. Okay, try to do some embossing, Kim. That's a nice goal. So, there is the heat embossing, there's the dry embossing with the embossing folders, and then there's special techniques that you can do with both of those. So, I'll see what I can put into our class about that. All right, we've got more little pieces here, and we've got this. Ooh, isn't that pretty? And more vellum, which needs adhesive. So we'll put that upside down. We've got this one upside down. And we're going to do some stamping right on here. And then we have this extra piece. Let's see. Oh, I see. They want all of this is going to get layered, and I'm actually going to stamp on this. So let's go ahead and do that stamping. And this one is, Dear Friend, You Make Me Feel Loved. I think since I haven't been on a couple of weeks, people may have forgotten the time that I'm usually online. Hopefully they will be able to catch this broadcast a little later. Okay, we have our dear friend. Don't need the sequence to get in the ink pad. Make me feel loved. There we go. And let's turn these upside down and get our different adhesives on here. Oh, yeah. I had a question on the tip of my tongue and now I lost it. Let's see here. Okay, we have that. And I guess this one as well. Just tear off a little piece here. See if I can't get it on the die here. Okay, and this time we're going to put the dimensionals on the back of the vellum this way, but it'll be covered up by the die cuts. Oh, I know. Have you had the opportunity to look at the new catalog, and whether it's online or you have one in hand? If you don't have one in hand and you're interested and do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, don't hesitate to email me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. Once again, that's Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com, and let me know that you'd like a catalog, and I'll need your mailing address as well as your phone number and a good time to reach you so I can make sure that that catalog gets to you. I have already sent out a whole number of catalogs, but if you're still needing one, let me know. Otherwise, in my email yesterday, I did send a way that you can look at it online. And also you can go to stampinup.com and look at the catalog online too. All right, so let's go ahead and get this together. Now, once again, this vellum is going to be, let's see what it shows on here. Okay, it's underneath, and it's just going to be the edges again. Oh, I didn't get the... I have to put all of the dimensionals on the back of this piece, too. It was tucked under the sentiments there. All right, let's do this. So anyway... next week, we'll go ahead and look at that catalog together. I'll show you just a couple pages here when we're in between doing these project pieces and our alternatives. But we'll actually look at it more closely next week. So pretty exciting. And the online exclusive. So it's always the same address as it was before. But they have just added a lot of new products, and very, very fun. So I've been cruising that. One of the benefits of being a demonstrator is you get to see all this stuff early, and you can pre-order stuff so that by the time the catalog comes out, we can share that with all of you. So that's always really fun. Okay, let's go ahead now, without sticking things together without me intending to. Just slide this over and get this card front over here. All right, I think this is so pretty. So we're going to go ahead and just center this on the card base. And then we're going to put the vellum piece on here. Okay. And then we're going to center the part that has the gold on here. That foil accent just really does make a difference. And then we're going to take our stamped sentiment. And then we've got our flowers and our foliage here. And the flower. Yeah. I'm going to put that over there a bit. Okay. You know, I'm going to move this up. I'm covering up too much of it. So let's move this up there. And then when we put this on there, now we can see the leaves. I like that better. Oh, and let's remember our sequins, right? And we're going to put one big one down here and a small one. I kind of like how you use the triangle shape when you're placing your sequins. It's kind of comfortable for your eye to look at them that way. And then that really helps set off what's on the die cuts here for around our sentiment. So that is card 3. So those are the 3 projects that are in the kit in the way that they were meant to be. But now I'm going to show you what we can do with them in addition to how they were. There we go. Very pretty. So we've got, a friendship card, thank you card, miss you card. Those are really nice. So what do you think? I guess I'm telling you what I think, but I'm curious if you like these cards. And let me do the announcements here before we get to the alternative cards, because I'm going to forget that I haven't told you these things. So this is just a quick look at this catalog. And let's see, I've gotten a couple things in here already. So let me see what I've already gotten. Oh, isn't this pretty? Valentine's Day. We'll be looking at Valentine's Day. And they have featured this alphabet that was in the catalog before, using some of the designer series paper to add to the Valentine. So that's kind of fun. And I really like this designer series paper for Valentine's Day. So that's one of the things in here. Let's see what else we have. Oh boy, we've got Woolly Friends bundle, some sheep. We've got some tulips here. This one's kind of fun. Beach boardwalk, especially if you're going to go somewhere this next summer, or you went last summer and you'd like to use this for scrapbooking. And the colors are so festive, right? And then let's see. I'm going to show you one of these cute ones that I can't wait to do. I got this whole set. It's called our suite. It's called Cute as a Bug. And there are little bugs with beautiful paper, die cuts. And I think this is really going to be fun. And there are little, what do they call these? Epoxy ladybugs in here. So those are going to be so fun to put on the cards. I think that's enough of a sneak peek. Like I said, next week we'll take a closer look at this. But anyway, and don't forget the online exclusives, and there's new kits. The other thing that's Stampin' Up! Is providing for us during the month of January, from yesterday through February 2nd. For each $50 purchase from Stampin' Up!, you earn a $5 coupon. And then you can get an unlimited number of those coupons. And then we can redeem them in February from the 3rd to the 28th. So you have a whole month then to use those off of your orders in the month of February. So don't forget about these bonus days. The other thing that I'll just remind you is this is now the second month where we have the product of the month. And in December, with a $75 purchase, you could order this designer series paper called True Blue Florals for $5. So about a $12.50 value. And this is still available. So you can get these for as long as they're available. But once they're sold out, they're done. Okay. And you can only get one of any of these items. So you can't buy multiple sets of this. Okay. So here's the January product of the month. And it's a stamp set called Fabulous Sayings. Let me get that a little closer. So this usually has about a $20 value, anywhere from 17 to 24, it just depends. So I'd say average $20 value, you'd get it for $5. And what I really like is two different fonts in these sentiments, and these are like the sentiments in this paper pumpkin kit. They're designed to go together in different ways, so you can make all kinds of different pairings for your cards. So I can't wait to get my hands on this. And now this just became available with orders placed either yesterday or today. But anyway, I know today, any orders going forward here until this is out of stock, you can get this for $5. And then, oh boy, where'd that go? Well, I am offering a 4-card free tutorial with any $50 purchase, and it's the Boho Vibes suite. And you can use those 4-card designs with that suite or any that you have. And I'm sorry, I forgot to take it off the printer. So you won't be able to, I can't show it to you right now, but I will show it to you. And it was in my weekly email yesterday. And then lastly, January 22nd to the 23rd, Stampin' Up! Is doing a virtual card retreat where you can buy a $165 packet of supplies, and then you get this 2-day retreat for free. And so it's actually to make 15 cards. And so kind of just here's a little look at some of the cards that will be made in this retreat. And like I said, there are a special set of products that'll be available for you. And then there are some things that I'm sure most people would have in their set, or if they don't, you'll know the types of things that you'll use to actually participate in the retreat. And so that's a fun new option, and something especially during January if you want something special to do. And you just go into my online store and you'll see this as an option to register for, or I'm sorry, to buy the retreat kit. And then you get sent the information to go to this retreat for free. And it's actually 2 days from 2 to 9. So there's 14 hours worth of fun. All right, let's go back to alternatives now. Let me move this out of the way. And just kind of uncover what I've started to put in place to set us up for this. Okay, so I want to tell you, like, kind of from the beginning, how I decided, what I was going to do. And part of this, we're at a workshop. So you're going to see me actually make these things right with you. So, all right. So what I did is, when I'm looking at a kit and I'm trying to figure out alternatives, the first thing that I do is on the back of the instructions are a list of coordinating colors. So right here underneath the picture with all of the supplies, there's a list. So garden green, night of navy, pretty peacock, secret sea, shaded spruce, and then bronze was the foil color. So what I decided to do was, all right, I'm going to get some of these colors, and then I'm going to start planning out what I'm going to do, because I'm going to make 2 cards out of 1 project card. So I decided to take a piece of basic white for each one of these, and then to take one of the colors that were listed as coordinating. So I took shaded spruce, garden green, and pretty peacock, matching them with the different card bases. And then I also decided, you know what, this envelope, this would look so pretty with the night of navy. So I'm going to make actually a card out of one of the envelopes as well. Okay, so that's kind of the project base that I looked at, and added just a little cardstock to these. Then I decided the next step that I was going to do was cut each of these card bases exactly in half. because one, I'm going to use the whole panel as my card front, the way they did with the project in the kit. And then I'm going to use the other piece a little bit differently. And so I've cut each of those in half already. All right. So let's go ahead. Why don't we start with the easiest one first? And I'm going to do the, I'm going to slide these aside here. Well, maybe I'll do that. The easiest one last. So we'll leave the envelope till last. Let's go ahead and just move these aside. All right. And what I did is I paired the die cuts and all of that with these different pieces, a little bit different order than they were with the cards themselves, but we're going to go from there. And so then I'm going to take my two, what will be my card fronts here. I've already scored these. Just kind of do them in order to not mess up my creative process, right? And the other thing that I thought I would do is the envelope. No, I think I'm going to make these all landscape instead of portraits. So the 3 cards in the kit were portraits. These are going to be landscaped. So they're going to be horizontal, not vertical. Okay. And then on the white cardstock, I decided I'm going to put the card front as the whole front. So this is 5.5 by 4.25, our normal card front size. And I'm just going to glue that right on here. Okay, so let's just go ahead, flip this over. And I love that, with the glue, the mono-adhesive glue, you have the slide factor. And I am just going to be putting this right on here. It'll basically look like the project kit card, right? All right, so I have that. Then now for my design, I'm going to figure out how I want to do this one. I'm not sure yet. So one of the things when I'm card designing is I don't glue things down until I'm ready. And then I'm going to take these parts and pieces. So I've got vellum. Now, am I going to use it on one or both of them? I don't know yet. I've got this die cut. I have a little die cut there. I have this flower. And then, something here to put a sentiment on. I think I'm going to change this orientation. And I think I'm going to use this behind this. Got this flower. And remember the stamp set that I have as well. So as I'm thinking about designing this, I'm also looking at, the stamps that I have. And really it's just the leaves in addition to the sentiments. So the sentiments is kind of my star here, right? So the question is whether or not I want to cut this down. Or do I like this on the one that's the full? All right, and I'm going to need to, I think I'm going to use a little technique here just to add a little color. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to take our scrap paper and I'm going to take this square and I'm actually going to do some color blending here. I'm just going to take a little balmy blue, which is one of the colors that wasn't listed, but it sure, kind of matches with this. And I am going to just put some of that on here so it's not white. All right, and I'm not going to put the sentiment on here. I'm going to use this as a background on this one. So it's got the balmy blue on it. And then on this one, I am going to do the same thing with this one. And I don't know if I want it on those white leaves. Maybe I'll just do this inside this section, kind of leaving the white to be those leaves around the edges. So that kind of just gives it a little something, something, right? Set this over to the side. How thick is this compared to this? I am going to cut just a little bit of this off because I'm going to add the fact that you can see the shaded spruce cardstock on this card front. So let's just grab our trimmer. And I am going to do this by eyeballing it and just set it here. And let's see, I've got the leaves pretty close there. And I'm going to put this inside my card. We've got that. And where is my things of scraps? Let's see here. So I told you when I'm making sentiments or cutting dies, I'll cut something extra. So let's see what I can find extra here to put a sentiment on this one. I'm going to leave a couple of these just sitting out here as choices. I've got a whole banner. Let's see. I might have to put some of that blue on there so it's not so striking, right? And then there's a little banner. Okay, let's see if we can't get one of these to work for us. And then I always have these card inserts right by me to use. And because I'm using a little bit of this blending brush, I'll tell you what, the card insert on this one, I am going to do a little bit around the edges here just to create some interest inside the card. So when you have these things around you and kind of ready to go, it makes, the design process just a lot easier. All right, I'm going to finish this one card first. So let's go ahead and stamp. What do we want this one to say? We're going to do let's make this one a thank you. It's just so very pretty. So, and then I think we're going to use the bigger stamp on the outside. The little things you do for me mean so much. Let's actually feature that on the outside. Okay. Okay, and then on the inside, I'm going to put the thank you. And I'm going to put this up in the corner more so I have room to write what I'm thanking them for. Okay. Now let's put this one together, and I think I want to do a little bit with these leaves. We've got the leaves on the outside, but what about doing a little bit of an accent on the front of here? Let's do just kind of set that off a little bit. And on the inside, by the thank you, I'm going to just put a little something down here. Oops. On the bottom. Tell you what, I kind of schmucked that up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is do a little two-step stamping, and it'll look like it belongs that way. There's always ways to fix it. End up making a little bouquet instead of just one leaf. Okay. So see, you would never know I made a mistake because I could fix it. So don't ever, worry. Now I could just turn this over too, right? I gave myself that option. And, let's see. Okay, with what I chose to do, I have to cut down my little accent piece a little bit. It's a little bit too thick. I didn't take that into account when I stamped. So let's fix that. I'll just cut it in half. So that was 3/4. So I'm just going to slide this and kind of eyeball. Okay. There we go. And now I can decide if this is going to be, oh, you know what? I like it on the top and bottom. I'm going to put the little bit thicker one on the top, thinner on the bottom here. And this will really be pretty. Just get a little bit of my glue. Okay. Now these are a little bit longer. I'm going to have to trim them. Just slide and make sure, and I've got a little extra glue on here. I'll just wipe off. Okay, let's go ahead and glue on the top. Now, I don't know about you, but I always, when I have these little, the things you cut off to make your card, card fronts, I always see if I can't use them in the card that I'm making, because likely that's what they match the best. And that way you don't have to throw them away. I do save them. If I can't put them on that card, or, whatever I'm stamping, it just doesn't work, or I'm making a fun fold. But it's usually the ones that you're doing at that time where they make, the biggest impact, right? So just think about that when you're crafting, so that you can get a little bit more out of it. All right, so now I'm going to just trim these off. And I'm going to go ahead and just glue this right inside my shaded spruce card base. Now, isn't that a lot nicer than just a white card insert? And it's going to bring the front and the back, together, right? So let's go ahead and just line up our card front here. And I'm just making sure those leaves are staying on the patterned paper. And by cutting down that card front and being able to use that on the inside, you do get to see another dimension by, backing it with the shaded spruce cardstock. So that's one card made out of what were the supplies. Let's go ahead and do this other one. And let's see. So I'm going to make this kind of like the focal image on top of my vellum. But I'm going to do something with this vellum that I thought I was only going to do on the next card, but I'm going to do it on this one too. And I'm going to give this vellum some personality, a little interest by using an embossing folder. And remember the part where the Stampin' Up! Emblem logo is the part that's going to stamp up. I'm going to put this vellum in here. And this one is called, let me see here, Layered Leaves. I'm just going to bring it over here quick and run it through my cut and emboss machine. And I'm going to change the way this whole thing looks. So instead of plain vellum, now we're going to have leaves on top of leaves. So that really adds to that. So don't forget about the other tools that you have. And now I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I'm going to do a couple of mini glue dots that I get out of my other paper pumpkins, or you can use your tear and tape. Or you can use your glue on a sponge. I just don't feel like getting the sponge out right now and creating all that stuff. But those are the ways that you can, or you can buy something called vellum tape that will adhere vellum to your projects so you don't see the adhesive. All right, so I'm going to just take all of the coverings off of my little mini glue dots here. Perfect. And then I'm going to just center this. And now one of the things sometimes, now mine did not tear, but sometimes you may have trouble with vellum tearing when you put it in the embossing folder. If that's the case, you can spritz it with a little water. It just gives it a little more forgiveness so that you don't have that problem. And we've got our blue, so we have to decide if this is going to be in the center and where we're going to put our sentiment. So let's see, that's our focal image. And it's like, which one of these do we like? You know, maybe we want to put it up like that. We've got that. We've got a banner. We've got a very small banner. Or we have a circle. Do you have a vote one way or the other? What size did I do for the inside? That's always the 4 by 5 1/4. So then the card insert is a 1/4 inch smaller. So if that answers your question, Kim. All right, so let's see. I think I like that at the top. Well, the other thing is you can choose just to put your sentiment on the inside too. Or we can use, you know how when you are cutting down your cardstock to make card inserts, you can also just take a straight piece of this. Let's see, I need to get a longer one. I have 2 lengths of these. Of course, I don't have the longer one here right now. Let's see. No, but you know what? That probably looks fine. You know, it might look good just to do that, but probably, oh, you know what? I have this little flower that I can put on the end. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do with this is I don't like that it's so white. So I'm going to go ahead and just color this like I colored the other pieces. Just to make it, you know, blend a little better. And then it'll show up from the vellum a little better, but it won't be like glaring white. It'll have this softer hue. And then this little flower is kind of, I'm going to do that too. Give it just a little blue. There we go. All right. All right, let's go ahead and stamp on this. And this time we're going to do You Make Me Feel Loved. Well, maybe we can do Dear Friend, You Make Me Feel Loved right across the front. Let's see if we can get it to fit. Wow, it fits. All right. But see how you can put these sentiments together differently. Oh, I like that. Right across the bottom. And let's see if we want to put this. Nah, I don't like that on the end. I'm just going to have it be in there a little more, you know, indented from the edges of the card. going to glue this on. And then I'm going to glue this onto the square, and I'm going to pop up the square, which is the whole focal image. And I'm going to add the flower where it was on the card that we did, and just feature it right in the front, right in the center. And put it right here. All right, and then I'm going to pop up our focal image. And there we go. There is the second one of 2 cards made out of what should have been 1 card. And, you know, these are landscapes, so when you're writing them, you can write a little differently. And this one with the white, you could put colors in and more sentiment, but I'm going to continue on here. I think you got the idea of how to do something unique inside this card. So what do you think about that? All right, let me set these here while we get ready for the next pair. And now really, those were basically scraps or things that I had from other projects I did. You know, otherwise it was just the parts and pieces in the kit. So that's a little easy. You know, used another ink color. Okay, let's go ahead and do this next one. So I'll just slide these up here for now. And this one is garden green to go with it. And I did go ahead and, you know, put this oval vellum through that embossing folder as well. And we've got a couple other pieces here, but let's go ahead and make our card bases. So, you know, always picking one white background and a color is easy. Sometimes I choose to use 2 of the same, you know, background color, or, you know what, when you have these stripes, I could use 2 different colors to make the 2 different cards. And you could make more cards by, you know, cutting this down into 4ths and doing a couple of, you know, 4 different card bases and cutting these ovals in half, you know, if you wanted to make even more out of your cards. But with this sentiment set, you have a lot of opportunity to make things, you know, different. So this one, I'm going to do what I did with the last one, the white. I am just going to make the front of this card the whole thing. So some of this, it's what can you do to make additional cards, but keep it simple. You know, sometimes my reputation of the queen of complicated, I gotta just make it easier for you, me, and it can still be really pretty designs, right? Let's see, I think I'm going to lead with the blue on this side. Remember, I'm making a landscape card. I have to talk out loud to myself about that, or I forget what I'm doing. If you want to make sure that you're doing this straight, use your desktop. That helps. And remember your paper slides when you use the multi-purpose glue. Okay, so we've got that one. Now, how I want this one to go yet, I don't know. I'm going to make that one go in the reverse. And then I've got the different ovals. Let's put the bigger one on this. Well, we're sure we're going to use that full card. I don't know if I'll cut this one down, so I'm going to put that one there. And let's see. I think this one needs a little bit more of the decoration, because with this gold, I think what I'll do is add the sequins on this one to bring out the copper look. All right. And let's see. I've got glue all over my fingers right now. Let's go ahead, before we figure out what we're going to do on here, I'm just going to go ahead and get this one, you know, adhered to the front here, because I'm going to leave that pretty straightforward. And if you were going to stamp anything, let's say I wanted to just stamp those branches on this vellum, you would do that before you emboss it. That's kind of one of the rules of embossing. You always stamp first, emboss later. Because if you try to stamp on something after it's embossed and it has ridges, you know, the impressions where it's embossed and raised, you could end up with crooked looking lines, and your images and or your sentiments could look funny. So you always stamp first, then emboss. But I wasn't going to stamp on this, so didn't have to worry, you know, about that with this situation. Okay. So this is kind of our card front, or, you know, card vellum layer that we're adding on here. And I'm making sure the raised part is sticking up. So then even when you touch this, you know, you can feel that it's raised. Okay. And then this one is going to be stamped. And I think I like the little things right on the front of this one too, because I'm going to do this one as a big miss you. That's what I'm going to do with this one. All right, let's get miss you out here. And I am going to center this. And I'm going to add a little branch on here. We'll use this little rounded off one. You know, let's try going around all kind of the 4 rounded areas of this oval. All right, so that looks a little more interesting. And let's go ahead and we're going to actually put this up on dimensionals to add a little more interest, because this is kind of on the down low. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you. All right, and I'm going to center this. And then with the parts and pieces, I think those look better on the sides. Let's do it that way. And I am just going to do a little glue on here. And I'll do the same with the flower. Just put glue on one half here. And, you know, I think this is like screaming that it needs a little ribbon. So let's see what I have in these colors. I don't know that I have. That's kind of in the spruce color. That is this. Oh no, that's Evening Evergreen. Yeah, Soft Succulent. This is when those colors were popular. I don't know if I have the, well, this one is pretty peacock. That one might be pretty. It's got a little gold on it. And what's the last one I have to choose from here? Shaded Spruce. Nope. Let's go ahead with this one that's got a little old olive and a little pretty peacock in there. And I think I'm just going to make a knot to sit up here. I don't know that I want a whole bow. Let's just try a little one first and see if that makes it just stand out a little bit. I'm going to go like this. See if I can just, I might have cut it a little short. Sometimes I try to save ribbon and I cut it too small. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can revive it or not. Now, do you think that adds, or does it go up here? Does it go on the side? Nah. How about if we put it up there? Tell me what you think. Or do you think it needs to be a whole bow? We can try it. I can keep the bow for something else if it doesn't work out. Let's see. That's a kind of crazy looking loop I made there. I always forget how to do that bunny ear thing. I don't know that this, that's not it. All right, let's see how this looks. So we've got this little knot. Okay, Linda says no bow. This is a much larger bow. Yeah, maybe that's a little obnoxious. All right, Linda, thank you for the advice. I am going to go with no bow. All right, so less is more. There we go. Let's go ahead and let's let the embellishment and the gold do our thing on this one, right? So I'm going to actually cut this down to be the card front. So once again, we can benefit from the fact that we're using colored cardstock here. And I'm going to take this to 4 1/4. I'm sorry, 4 inches. And I'm going to do 5 1/4. And that's taking off, the 1/4 inch. All right. And then we'll just be able to see the frame of the green, which I think looks really pretty. Now you could double frame this and put another one of those stripe colors underneath if you wanted to, step it up a little and make some of the other colors pop. Okay. And then I think this on there is just so pretty on its own. Now this is the one where, let's see, of the I like the whole little saying to go in here because it's so pretty. And it's kind of a big label to just put a very little thing on, and I don't necessarily have flower stamps out. If I wanted to decorate this some more, then I could use one of the just, one-liners. But I really like how that looks. And let's go ahead and I am going to pop this one up. That's where the interest will be. And then using some of the embellishments. So let's go ahead and so there. Now, if you had more time, you could actually fussy cut some of those little green branches out if you wanted and add them on. But this is really pretty just with the detail that it has. And this could have also, we could have just used our blending brush, right? And added some color on top there. But anyway, there are 2 more cards made from the supplies of 1. So what are you thinking? Yeah, this DSP, I love those stripes too, Linda. I'm with you. All right, let's take the third one here. And this one is all stripes of blue. So I'm going to set those just up here. And I decided pretty peacock, and we've got white. And we've got these pretty stripes just in the blue. And I thought a little balmy blue paper would go. Let's go ahead and choose our bone folder. I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing 2 classes coming up this month, and I'm using the 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar supplies. Now, if you don't have those, you could pick any suite that you wanted or just mix and match what you have to use the designs. And I've decided that it's January, and I was kind of getting a little overzealous. And I did 5 cards are in this class instead of the usual 3. And I'm going to have to find a way to do it so that we're not, crafting for hours and hours. But anyway, doing those designs, and I'm actually going to do it online next Saturday, January 10th at 10 in the morning. And so you can do the live class with me, or it'll be available as a replay. And then I'm also going to do it in person here in Madison, Wisconsin. So if you want to get some great card designs that you're going to be able to use over and over again, and kind of going along with what is the focus of this project is, you're going to be able to add whatever sentiments, and the card designs I'm going to show you are going to work for any occasion. So they're all occasion cards. I just hoped to help you launch 2026 with a lot of ideas. I hear over and over and over from all of you how hard it is to get project ideas. So I thought that doing a class with extra cards and ones that are really focused on all occasions will help you to do just that for the months to come. So if you are available and want to join me for either of those, or just watch the video at your convenience, know that you are invited. And so that information is on my business page here. It's also in my email, because the in-person class will be January 17th, so a week after the online class. So, and that'll also be a Saturday, and that's going to be Saturday afternoon, 2 to 4 here in Madison. So maybe you want to check out the after Christmas sales at one of the local malls. You'd be able to do shopping in the morning, have a great lunch, and then join me later. That would be great. Okay, so I'm kind of just doing what I did with that first, the last 2 sets of cards. I just made one that has the whole thing here. And then I decided to cut that in half to make something a little different for our second card. And I'm not sure if I want it on the top or the bottom yet. I'm going to have this scrap. I don't know if I'm going to use it, or actually that could be a whole other card, right? And I have this piece of blue. How do I want to use it? And then this, I think, is so pretty. But this seems so duplicative, layering this. It was pretty, but I don't know that I need to do that again. And then the one thing is with this, I think since I'm doing a landscape card, I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to actually cut this, I think, to go on the side one way or the other, or on the top and bottom. Or do I want it to be thin? Maybe now I want to make it so that this is one that has a thinner sentiment on it. So let me cut this exactly in half and be able to share that with more than one card. So I'm just going to eyeball this. You know, I can kind of use my lines here. And actually what I'm doing is making it a 1/2 inch wide. A lot of times the sentiment labels that I use are a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch wide. So there we have those. Ooh, that's already the right size to be a card front. Ooh, lucky. That was in my scraps. I tell you, sometimes it's meant to be. And this is actually going to fit right on here, like it was meant to be. Sometimes you just roll with it, right? Or we can pop it just a little higher, and that looks good too. And then this one we have vellum, right? And we could layer that up the way it was layered on the other thing. Let's see, we have this little branch. We've got flowers. And you know what? I can use this on a whole nother card, just adding another piece of another card base. I'm going to save that for that. And we got to design this one a little more. Maybe this is the one that I'll put the ribbon on. Let's get this one done first, and then we'll figure out how we can add some ribbon to zhuzh that up, okay? So let's go like this. And I want to use this one will be our thank you. I'll tell you, between thank you cards and birthday cards, I can't ever seem to make enough of them. All right, so let's just center this. And we've got our thank you. And I'm just going to glue this on. You could also put the front part of this card base with the leaves embossing folder, and that would add more interest as well. Flat, or I think I'm going to use dimensionals. All right. Oh wait, I'm not one-dimensional short. I think by adding the dimensionals, that really helped that one along. And then we've got this little piece of paper here that we can put inside. And then I would use some leaves on the inside of your card. Okay, let's figure this one out. Maybe this one should get, let's put this through the embossing folder. Okay, let me just go over to my machine here and wheel that through here. There we go. Now that adds just a little bit. And with that darker color underneath there, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do tone on tone with my blending brush. So you're going to see a little bit more of that definition of the layered leaves. Okay, so that shows it off a little bit. Let's try the Night of Navy. And I'm going to just go kind of light on the Night of Navy here. And get it started off line. And look at the difference. That really helps to make it pop a little more. I really like that effect on there. So, you know, you can do different shades of different colors. And, ooh, that really kind of helps all of the different colors there. I'm going to cut this in half because I want to see more of this background. So I'm going to just cut what is, let's see, this is 5. I'm going to just cut this at 2.5. So this could be for another card too. But I like the fact that now we get to see this whole background. And do you know what would even step it up a little more? I'm going to put white behind it. And I'm going to put it on here very thin. But then that will help when we have our other white sentiment things. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just glue this on the top. You know, black would also be another great choice to do very small frame around, or Secret Sea could really be a pretty little background. But since this is right here, I'm just going to roll with it, right? Oh boy. Let's get a little alcohol pad and kind of clean up the ink all over. Or you could use a wet one. Okay, I don't want to smudge my inky fingers on that white cardstock. All right. So now I'm just going to cut that down again by eyeballing it. So let's just go like this. There we go. And then we'll have our vellum. And you know what? I'm just going to use this with that. And I'm going to save this to put on this card. So I've got the fixings for another card. And this one is going to be Dear Friend. Okay. All right, let's get all of our layers on here. Easy peasy. And see how you can just do it as you go. And until you're sure about something, don't glue it down because it gives you options. I really think that white helps that to pop. Now let's go ahead and put our vellum behind here, and I'm just going to use one piece of tear and tape to secure that this time. I'll just center that. Oops. And then I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. I have to use the little ones right now. And you know, I was thinking this is going to need a ribbon, but I don't even think it will because now of the layers and doing that embossing, you know, really stepped it up. Now, in addition to using a blending brush, I could have also just put some ink inside that embossing folder and could have ended up with, you know, a colored impression as well. So we've got that. And let's get the, I don't know if I want to glue this flat on here. Yeah, I do. So we'll glue this down. And if I wanted to connect this, I can. Well, if I can get the top of this dimensional off, I can also put this under this end of this leaf to have it be attached. Let's see if I can do this with my take your pick tool. There. That way it's less likely to get pulled off of there, right? All right, we've got that. Now, if we wanted to, you could also add the sequins onto the blue to, you know, highlight that edge a little more. So there are the two cards made out of one. So the last one, the last quickie we have here is using Night of Navy with the envelope. And just gonna go ahead and do this. And then I've got the white insert so I can stamp inside. And this design, I'm going to cut the size of a card front. So let's go ahead and let's see. We're going to do this at 4 inches. Oh no, I'm going to do this at 5 1/4. There we go. Nope, 5 1/2. Nope, 5 1/4. I'll make up my mind soon. All right, now I'll take that off of there, and then I'm going to do this at 4 inches. And then I'm going to just kind of pull this open here. And I'm going to carefully. So to make this a little easier, I could have made this, I'm going to do this anyway. Cut a little off each side. Then you absolutely have this happening, but I can still cut it just a little bit on the edge so that it's a straight cut. You know, sometimes trying to do this with the scissors doesn't work so well. That's why the trimmer works better. And then I'm going to cut along the bottom of my envelope here. Right on that cut line. And of course, that didn't go so well because I hit this part. All right. I'm going to have to cut off a little more of this design than I want to, but I got to smooth it off. So next time, cut around the whole envelope with your trimmer. And when you get this little lint stuff in your track, just push it down the track with the 1/4 of cardstock or of designer series paper, and it'll pop out of there for you. And let's go back to fixing this. All right, there. Now we've got a nice smooth cut. And this is going to be a beautiful card front, just centered right here. I'm just going to glue this on. And you know, to make a card out of the envelope and have it look this nice and just put it in, you know, one of my white envelopes is absolutely the way to go. So what I would do with this one is focus on the sentiments, you know, that are with the set for the inside. And what I would do is use one of my large sentiments from another stamp set to finish this card. You know, you have big happy birthday, you have a big thank you, just something much larger, and that would be so pretty in the Night of Navy. And so then that would make, you know, out of 3 different cards in one envelope, we're going to have 7 cards. So with that, let's just shut these few things down. Oh, I just stuck my finger right in the ink. Oh boy. Good thing I'm coming to an end, you guys. Who knows what you would see otherwise. All right, let's do this. So we've got our envelope card, and then these are, let's keep these little pieces in where I have to glue these in. But then you've got these 2 cards from one, and these 2. And then lastly, we have these 2. So with that, here, I think I can just put this one on the side there. Now you can see it. So what would have been 9 cards, I could have actually gotten 9 of these cards plus 18 cards out of one paper pumpkin with just a couple of extra pieces of cardstock and a couple scraps. And this kit became 28 cards. No, that's Tracy math. 27 cards. Anyway, so I'm looking to see if you have any questions. Yeah, the DSP, the card bases in this kit were so pretty. Oh, and good. So Betty said she does like the little ribbon. I mean, this could actually go on that one too and be very pretty. So, that's an option. And, would this have been an option on this one? Having a whole ribbon, that would have been really pretty too. So, the other things that you have in your stash, don't hesitate to pull those out as well. All right. Well, you will find this will be posted. The pictures of this will be in my email next week. And I think the projects themselves, you can go back to this video. It will be on Facebook for 30 days, and it'll be on YouTube for a long time. So don't hesitate to go back there if you want to take, a peek at this and be reminded how you can use these card designs. So let me just change this back and say, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope these ideas are helpful. I hope that if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, that you use these ideas to get more out of your kit if you would like to. If you're not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, maybe this is something that you'd like to do and do it for the first 3 months of the year. Try it out and see if you can't get a number of cards made for this year and be ready to send them in the mail and make someone happy. Anyway, you've made me happy by joining me today, and I hope to see some of you in class, whether it be online next Saturday or another week from Saturday in person. Anyway, I am Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping. Don't hesitate to reach out to me at Traci, Traci, at Plum Crazy Stamping if you have questions or you're interested in getting a catalog. Anyway, I'm here to make stamping and paper crafting fun and easy for you. So take care, friends, and until next time, bye-bye now.